Hello lovely, so today's yarn tutorial is going to be another episode of the Yarn Maths series. Today I'm going to be talking more about how you can use a stitch to calculate lots of data for your project. None of the things I'm talking about are particularly tricky, but they tell you an awful lot of information to make your project more organised, to make sure that you are on track, and to make your the quality of your project maybe better as well. So hopefully you find it interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. Also, just a quick note, I'm still learning how to record and film, so a little bit of this film here is cut off just very briefly, but hopefully you'll stay with me. What we can do when we've got our stitches made with it is we can actually work out a few things, even down to the stitch, how much yarn is used per stitch. Now you can use the calculations, you can use the values from the calculations we've got here, but there's another way of doing it practically as well, which would be simply to work a stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dot. Oops. So what you're seeing here is me working at one solo stitch, and then I'm going to use the pen to mark the starting and ending point of that stitch, and from there I will be doing a little bit of experimenting. So this is the point where my camera was just a little bit out of angle, but what I'm doing here is I'm marking the point and cutting the yarn to size, and you'll soon see it on camera. I take this out, so from where the dot is to where the pink finishes, that's the amount of yarn I need for a stitch, and this is the length of my tail, so I'm going to cut the length of my tail off, get rid of that. This is how much yarn I need for one stitch, roughly. So so that you realise what I was doing there, I have still got the end of the yarn, I just used the tail of the yarn, so I've still got this attached here, because I still want to continue on this project later. So I'll put this to the side just now, but this little piece of scrap yarn tells me quite a lot. It tells me how long one stitch is. So for every single stitch that I'm working in my pattern, I need about 12 centimetres of yarn. So I can add that to the data that I've collected. I know that one stitch, EXELDC, that's the type of stitch that I'm using. That's not really important for you. It could be a double crochet or single crochet, whatever stitch you're doing. One stitch, so one stitch measures 12 centimetres. So going back to what we figured earlier, we know that 11 rows and 87 stitches times together times 87, 957. So this that I've worked out already has about 957 stitches in it. And if I had to unravel the ball and line it up along the street, I would need 957 stitches times 12 centimetres. That's how many centimetres I would need of yarn to get that. And then obviously for metres, there's 100 centimetres in a metre, so you would divide it so that you've got the correct meterage, so you would add your decimals. But yeah, hopefully you can see just how useful that is. The other thing you can do is you could weigh, not sure if my scale will show this, but let's just try it. No, it's not showing it. But if you had really sensitive scales, you would be able to weigh that and work out the weight of it, so that you could then also use that calculation to see how many stitches you can get out of your yarn ball. So there's lots and lots of data that you can have just by problem solving. And I know that a lot of crocheters and knitters and crafty people are scared of maths or think they're not good at maths. I was one of them, but it's just that we've not been taught properly, and they've not been taught of the benefits of maths in a practical situation. You use maths every single day, and just because you're not writing in a jotter with calculations, or you might use a calculator, or you might do it in your head, or you might use it by estimating, you're using maths all the time. And especially if you are a crocheter or a knitter or a sewer or someone like that makes things, measurements, weights, shapes, they're all really important. And algebra, obviously we're working out calculations. So what I would like is for people, and not to be stereotypical, but most crocheters are generally female, and we tend to be not always, obviously. It's a craft. It's not a gender-based thing, but traditionally most people that crochet or knit tend to be female, and they tend to have historically thought that they're not very good at maths, or that their hobby or their skills are not as technical or skilled as maybe a traditional craft or hobby, such as maybe carpentry or something like that. And I would urge everyone that maybe has that view to reconsider. That's me just going off on a tangent, but DIY and crafts, they have very similar things, including needing to be able to measure, just that our rulers look prettier. Okay. So anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope you find this episode interesting or useful or helpful at all. If you've got anything else that you would like me to cover, or any questions you have, or any comments, as always, please leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, lovely.